Hey guys. Today's lecture is about if and else statement, and we are gonna make a project and I will explain if and else with this project. So we will have 2 inputs and 4 outputs. Our 2 inputs will be 2 buttons and our 4 outputs will be 4 LEDs. And when I press this button, number 1, first button, the LEDs must turn on and off like this way, from here to here, like this. And when I press the other one, it is vice versa. And when I press both of them, all the LEDs should be on. And when I press none of them, none of the LEDs will be on. So we are going to make this project with if and else statement. Of course, when I press both of them and I take my hand, it just does once from right to left. That's because we don't use loops and etc. But we could make it perfect. But for now, it is our 7th lecture, and with this knowledge of code, we can make this much. So let's begin our project. In the previous lectures, we learned about how to connect an LED as an output to our digital pins and how to connect a button with pull-down resistors, pull-down circuit. And now we will combine these 2 lectures and add another lecture to this, another topic, if and else statement. So we will have 2 inputs and 4 outputs, and we will combine them with if and else statements. So let's begin. I'll do it step by step. First, let's connect our buttons and write the code for it, and let's look if the code works. And then if it was okay, we can continue with our outputs. So for the first step, I'll connect 2 buttons here, which I will connect to pin number 2 and 3. So let's connect this one too. So for pull down resistors, first of all I connected my power lines to this power line of breadboard, and now I will connect one side of my button to ground, and I will take the signal from this button to pin number 2. If you don't know how to connect these buttons, you can click on my previous lessons, and I talked about how to connect pull down resistors and signal cable to Arduino. And now I will take from here to pin number 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. And now I have to connect these other leg of buttons to positive line, and this one also. Okay, they are connected. Now I will check from the serial monitor if my code works. So first, for my buttons, I will make 2 integers, 2 integer variables, so that I can understand what are the value of my buttons at any moment. So integer number 1 will be first button, and integer number 2 will be second button. I made these like this, but also I could make just like this. Instead of writing separately, I could just separate them with a comma and paste here, And I could just write this. So now I have two variables, first button and second button. Both of them are the same way because we don't initialize them. We just say that make some place in the memory for my first button and second button, that they will get some integer value inside of them. And integer has a limited like 16 bits of value. I guess 16 bit in Arduino, but in every language it is different in every system actually. So I have two variables now and I have to check their situation. So I need to take them as inputs. So in the void setup, I will say to Arduino that these pin number 2 and 3 are my inputs. So I will write pin mode. It was a function for declaring input and output. Pin number 2 and pin number 3 are my inputs. So pin number 2 is input and pin mode pin number 3 is input. So I have two inputs now. And in order to see if my buttons work or no, I will look at them from serial monitor. So I have to begin my serial monitor in void setup. So serial dot begin, and baud rate will be 9600. Okay. So the setup is done. Now we will look if my code, my circuit is correct. So I will take values of my first button and second button. I will just copy and paste them. My first button will be equal to digital read pin number 2, and my second will be digital read pin number 3. So these are my buttons and their situation is stored in these variables. And now I can print them out. Serial dot print first button is I will have like 4 of them. First button is, second button is, let's put a space here. First button is first button. As you can see, this is string and this is variable. We don't put variables inside codes. And this is second button. So if our code is right and our circuit is correct, then it has to work. So I'm uploading, and now it is done uploading. Let's see if it works or not. So now I'll press button number 1. It works. I'll press push button number 2. Yes, it works. And I'll push both of them. Yes, it works. And when I don't push any of them, it also works, as you can see. So now my input part is okay. And the second thing I'm gonna do is my output part. Let's put our LEDs to pins number 4, 5, 6, 7 and see how it works. So as usual, I will connect all my LEDs to a single resistor. I talked about this before, how I connect them in the previous lectures. So let's connect this one and this one. And this one here. And this one also here. Is it correct? Yeah. So this plus line here will be my ground. I'll take my ground from here, from end of the other ground to here. So now it is connected to ground via this. And when I give my power from these pins that I will write the code on them, they have to work. So this is first one. This is second one. Third. And the last one. So now that I connected my LEDs, I have to make these pins output. So how I do this? Just same as pin mode for inputs. Pin mode number 4 output, and I'll copy paste for the others. Oh, Y, Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V. 5, 6, 7. All right. Now setup is done, and let's do the loop part. So I want to see if they work or no. For now, there is no if-else statement. I just want to see if my LEDs, my outputs work correct or no. So for that, I will write pin mode, or not pin mode, digital write, pin number 4. We started with 4. High, and then delay for. Let's make another variable here for delays. Int delay time. Let's copy this. Delay for delay time. And then make it low. Digital. I'll just copy and paste. And then make it low and wait for another delay time. And let's put a comment here like this. And let's copy paste this code too. So turn on the 4th pin and close it, and then 5, 6, and 7. So if it works, it should go from left to right, and then my outputs will be also correct. I'm uploading this. Oh, I didn't set the delay time. Oh, it will be equal to 100 milliseconds. Let's upload again. Now, as you can see here, it works. So step number 2 is also okay. Let's go to step 3. In this step, we are learning some new stuff. In this step, we will do if and else statement. So I'll delete these serial prints because we already debugged our code and we know what will happen. So if and else statement, actually it is so easy. We just write if, and inside this we write our condition here, whatever our condition is, and then we put curly braces, and inside this curly braces we write some instructions, some commands, and if the condition was true, then it does whatever we wrote inside this curly braces, and then we can put an else if, and we will put another condition and another curly braces too also. And if the first condition wasn't true, it will come here and it will check if the second condition or the other condition was true. And if it was true, it will do whatever inside of this. But if our condition was true, it will do these instructions and don't look. It won't look here if that's true or not. It will just get out of the if statements. And at the end of else ifs, we can put one if and then as much as we want else if, and after that we can put one else statement. If none of the conditions above was true, then do instructions under this else. Okay, it means that. So let's write our condition. What is our condition? If two of them were pressed at the same time, turn on all LEDs. We want to do this. So it means that first button should be 1 and second button also should be 1. We'll write first button equals 1. Why I put equals? Because it is the same thing as mathematical equals. This was not. This was making the left hand side equal to right hand side. But this is for checking. It says check if left hand side of the equal sign is equal to right hand side. So it checks if it is true or not. And then we want to make sure that both of them are open at the same, pressed at the same time. For this, we put 2 ampersands, and it says that this and this. It is logical and. It says if both of the conditions were true, do this. If one of them was wrong, then it doesn't do, because the condition becomes false. So also second button has to be 1. If both of them are 1, then we'll just say turn all of the LEDs. So 4, 5, 6, 7. So it turns on all the LEDs. Now let's make an else if statement. If that wasn't true, both of them weren't pushed, both of them weren't 1, what can be? One of them can be, the left one can be pushed, the right one can be pushed, or none of them can be pushed. So if left button was pushed, left button is the first button. If first button, only first button, was equal to 1, then do this. So what will we do if first button was true? We will just do this code here. We can copy and paste. Not actually, cut and paste. Yeah. With tab button, we can just, if you want to make something go forward in code, you can do this. with tab. Now if first button was clicked, it will do this else if statement and it will go from left to right. And let's write another else if statement. As if the right button was clicked, then second button, if it was equal to 1, do this. What will it do? It will do the same thing but in reverse order. Control C, Control V, and instead of 4 this time it will open and turn on 7, the last LED, then 6, then 5, then 4. When we learn for loops, our code will be much shorter and much compact, and we can write better codes with for and while loops. Right now just we'll do like this. And with 2 buttons being 0 and 1, you just can have 4 situations, because 2 times 2 is 4. You cannot have any other condition, like both of them are pressed, pushed, one of them, first one is pushed, second one is pushed, or none of them pushed. There's no other condition. So if it wasn't one of these conditions, then there's just one condition. We can write if none of them were pushed. Yeah, I mean if both of them were equal to 0. But we don't need to, because there's only one option left. So we just write else. Else. So else means none of the conditions above was true. Do this. So if none of them were pushed, we just want to make all of the all of the LEDs low. I'll copy and paste this one and tap. I will make all of these low. Now, if I upload this code, it should work like I showed in the beginning of the video. It is uploading, done uploading. So now I don't push any button, and it directly goes to else, because none of the above was true. So if I push button number 1, first button, this one, then it has to turn on the LEDs from left to right. So let's push it. Yeah, it works as we wrote. And now I will push button number 2, second button, and it has to go from right to left. Let's push this. Yeah, it works. Now if I push both of them, all the LEDs must be on. Yeah, as you can see, both of them. It just once did from left to right, because when I try to push both of them, I am not faster than this electronic cycles. Okay, I certainly push one of them before the other, so it just gets that information and makes this instruction. Then it realizes that I push both of them. So we could write some code that directly it would finish whatever it does and go to 2 buttons states. I mean pushing 2 buttons. But for our level right now, it is a little bit high. It is not very hard, but we can do these kind of things later, and we will do these kind of stuff. So our code works. This is it for this lecture. See you in the next lecture.